Hi, what's up, y'all? I see an opportunity that's about to come soon. Alright, before I review my trades and stuff like that from yesterday, I do see a quick opportunity that I'm waiting for this area. So before I even do anything, I'm gonna wait for this first. So what we have here is, we have this move right here. Could argue there was a move right here, but I'm waiting for the pause to happen right here because the higher time frame looks extremely good. Flush, one, two. So what I'm gonna do is get prepared based on this entry right here on the top, the buy stop. Something like this makes sense. If we can get one more candle to pause. Yeah. And then if I can get an entry in this area, and then I'm gonna go over any updates. Three. I'm waiting for this candle to pause. We got 3 minutes. So it took out that high right here. So I'm no longer interested in this part. I'm still waiting. It could set up in this area. So I'm just waiting for something real quick before you know, I think I do have time to like explain what's going on. So let me show y'all real quick. This is my challenge. So far last week, I think I only took either one or two trades, which was a break even for the trade history, time range. Let's actually do the whole month since it's almost the end of the month. Is this the whole month? Yeah, I think this is the whole month. This is the results for the month. We had three, four, not much of a loss. It's like 0.5% for a loss. Let's go into my other account right here. I think this is my challenge right here. I'm waiting for this to load. So, yeah, actually, that was the same platform. 5% of this. Then, as you can see, um, go to custom range from first to 29. See, about like 0.5% of a loss. Okay, this is candles almost. This is candle gonna print. I'm gonna prepare myself for this entry first and tell y'all about my game plan on what I'm doing. So I do see a possible entry up here. This candle can print, before taking out the next candle's high, something like that. Or I'm gonna manually do the entry as well. This is a good area to put the stops. Okay, it just took out that high. Cancel it. So I'm gonna quickly talk about my game plan. So if I go on the higher time frame of gold, gold is moving extremely nice. This was my challenge trade from last week. It's going extremely nice. I'm still in this. Waiting to take a partial after this candle close for my rules. It's the same rules right here. Like if y'all want to just take a look at that real quick. See, I'm up massive amount on this, massive amount. So what I'm basically looking for is we had this flush on the higher time frame, the context time frame. We had this first mini breaker structure. Usually after the flush, I expect 4 to 5 before a reflush. So we have one on the higher time frame. So if we can just label this out, um, I'm gonna do a quick label because I don't want to miss anything on the lower time frame. So this is the I call it the context breaker structure one, so I know where I am in the market. You just quickly go back to the lower so I can make sure nothing's really moving. Yeah, we're all the way up here. Still wait for an entry, but right here we also have a great context in the market. We have a flush right here, and we can either say this is the first breaker structure for this one. Call this like the um, validation breaker structure one. It's in the great context positive about its 20. So simply, I'm just waiting for. We had to move up. You could argue there was an entry right here for the impulse, the small pause right there. So I'm just waiting for another opportunity to be able to get in. So I'm waiting for another pause right around this area right here. Then I can set up buy stop on the high near that pause. Yeah, I was looking at silver last night for my challenge. I ended up taking a loss. Let me just show y'all that loss real quick. It was on I think it was like on a 30-minute time frame, stuff like that. It was just this entry right here. Ended up taking it, then going to sleep, and ended up being a loss. It is what it is. Just wanted to show y'all since I showed y'all the winning challenge trade, which later on I gotta update my everybody for the series. But yeah, gold, definitely waiting patiently for some opportunities. Unless we clear the high right here, then I'm not interested in anymore. Until we can either clear the high or reflush down. time frame looks extremely good if you can pause by here. This is what I'm talking about. I don't care about the short term losses and break evens because, like I showed you, yeah, similar the same entry I did for this challenge down here is the same entries I'm gonna be doing. I do for my funded accounts. So my edge is basically just positioning myself uh, in um a potential trade idea that may lead to a huge trend and based on what I know about trends and how they form. So it gives me a huge advantage, especially whenever I'm losing, um, either cutting my loss or um, most of the time cutting the loss based on the rules or having a break even. Then I got to take a partial in like 9 hours, see where it closes. It could close down here, could close up here. All that doesn't matter because for now my management rules, it's like that. Everything looks extremely good for gold and for the lower time frames. We have this pause getting formed. So right now I'm going to prepare my order just in case price want to go above it. This area right here. This is a decent sized stop loss, so I could do this. Put it right at the low. Something decent like that. Yeah. I just need that pause. Let me go type in my values real quick. I'm gonna market execute. Um, just in case we get that pause. If I do get my entry, I've been doing that a lot more for the lower time frames. That's 31. And if the price moves without me, it is what it is. There's always going to be another opportunity. 20, 31, 26.340. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit lower. 20. It seems decent right here. A decent trade idea. So what I'm gonna do is get everything prepared for this entry. 31, 19, 950, and yeah. So I'm getting everything prepared. So simply, this candle needs to just print before taking out this candle's high. So I'm waiting for the buy stop. See, real trading is just about the patience of waiting for what you used to seeing. Okay, we got 10 seconds to see where this candle's gonna close. All right, so now there's two things that price can do. It can either go up, I get my entry. It can fail down, I'll do nothing, and then I'll just have to wait again. That's all I'm waiting for. Nothing more, nothing less. One would be here, structural move. Okay, we're pushing up. So I'm getting this market order, and then once I'm in the trade, I'll show y'all that if I do actually get the trade, I'm gonna show y'all that I'm actually in the trade, like I do all the time. Still just waiting in here. Just waiting patiently. It's almost there. Like I say all the time, the purpose of this is just to show you. Once you have rules that you tested, it's all about just executing those same rules, no matter the end result of individual trades, because the overall amount of trades is gonna make you the money. I think there's some type of news at like 11:30 or 12 something, either one of those. But I'm fine with taking a trade before it because since I'm on a lower time frame, like 5 minute, um, it's enough time, based on the time right now for either it to give me a move where I can break even or take me out or I cut the loss before the news. So if price ends up just failing back down, so all I will have to wait for is just this. So if we fail down under the MAs again, just the same thing where we make an impulse, pause, buy stop. So just waiting and waiting. I hope by now, like y'all could just see the cycle repeats on every time frame, no matter how you look at it. I just got my hand waiting for the market execute button above here. So far, how it's moving is clean. I like how it's rejecting off of that 10. Okay, 1 second. Let's see what the next candle does. Okay, it's pushing up even more. I'm just waiting. Okay, I'll keep it with that volume. Keep it with the volume. It's almost there for entry. So price is just not gonna give me an entry. I feel like it's just gonna reflush. Let's see if this candle gonna give me an entry. Because this whole area is still valid right here. Trade. Unless we reflush under the MAs. Let's see what it's doing right here. It's a maiden game. Okay, this candle is showing a bit of volume, but we just gotta see if it's gonna follow through. Okay, so far so good with that candle. This setup looks really good. All right, so I just placed the trade right here. 26. Move it up just a bit. I'm gonna show y'all just in a bit the entry. 120. All right, let me show y'all the entry real quick because I got in the trade. So I'm in this trade for a buy stop on the high. Let me show y'all real quick. As you can see right here, I'm in the trade, and as you can see right here, I'm in the trade. So it's just a waiting game. I'm just gotta see, am I gonna cut the loss? So let me explain my management rules for this trade right here. I'm in it. My management is basically either I take a loss because I have my stop loss on, or if we get a break of that 20, then I'll cut the loss, or um I'll be looking for now for the management, I'll be looking for a one-to-one break even or a mini structure before the one-to-one. So let me just download this image right here because I'm gonna put it in my journal, and we're gonna take photos of even what the higher time frame is doing. Like that, and then I'm gonna take a photo of what the context time frame is doing. image, and I'm gonna put that in my journal here. So we got 5 minutes basically. So I gotta hurry up and put in my journal because I gotta see if it closes under that 20, which is the red line. Uh, I was looking at my. There you go. This is for gold specifically. On the 31st. This right here, like I said, was that trade I took last night for my challenge. I don't record the challenge ones on stream, so I'm not too pressed for it. So we had a 5 hour, just call it a 4 hour, 30 minute. We can see that entry was a 5 minute. Oh, not 15, a 5. Um, put these images in. Just looking, just got me a trade opportunity. Um, okay, so context in your bullish validation. First, yes, 20 clear. Something simple like that. Let's see what's going on. So the trade is reversing, so we're gonna see if we take a loss on this. And simply, if we take a loss, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna be looking for one more opportunity, and if I take one more loss, I'll be done for the day. So you can see, kind of see it in the corner right here, the P&L for this account specifically. So like I said, if we get a break of that 20, I'm gonna cut the trade early, but if it can still reject up. All right, so I took the loss. So let me just show y'all that I took the loss right here. Right here. So this is the loss right here I took. Let me show y'all for the other account. Wait for this to load. Let's see. Come on, load. I just refreshed this so it can load faster. And then we're gonna add it to the journal that what happened. So this is the trade history for the month. We already went over the trade history for the month. So let's see how we do this. Trade history. Trade history. All right, whatever. All right, this says last week. I think it was today. Yeah, there we go. So this is the loss right here. Quick loss. It is what it is. We move on. And notice, like, either I can be wrong, and it does nothing and it fails down, or I can be right and it pays me huge. So the same way how I analyze is the same way I get these break evens, losses, and then sometimes huge wins, like with that trade I'm in right now, right here. So what my plan is, so let me reanalyze this real quick to see what's going on. So we had the flush, we had the first potential break of structure. Let me go into 30-minute. So it still looks potentially clean in this area. But what I would want for a price to do before looking for another opportunity, and is for price to basically make the same move where it's coming up, it's starting to rise, make a pause, and then I can buy stop the high, or just manually execute for the high for a potential runner with the overall trend. So this is what I do as well. So when I take a loss, I simply just document that. Because this is how you make improvements later on. When you want to look back 6 months, a year from now, this is how you make the improvements right here. And I'm gonna say this time and time again. I'll show y'all this to show y'all that there are many trades that combine together that makes a profitable system, right? Many trades, not the individual trades. So when you position yourself right with only waiting for your opportunities, you will be rewarded when the trend does play out. This was 5 minute right here. Download image, and then put it in my journal. Okay. One. And you don't need no fancy journal or anything. You don't need nothing like that. Just something you can make sure you're taking pictures of all the images, time frames that you use to analyze, so you can get a big picture of what's going on. Because you don't want to just take a small little picture and then you're reviewing your journal back, but you don't know what's really going on because your picture is so small. Edit button. Here we go. Click, loss, nothing to do. All right. Yeah, so you don't want to be taking like an image like this where you're something like this. You don't want to take an image like this and then especially if this is your only image, how are you gonna know like what really happened? You can't see the bigger picture. But instead, when you zoom out, can see like more of the bigger picture. Okay, you can see some bullish structure at the side. You can see on how price is interacting with the MAs right here. And then you take multiple pictures as well. You can look at a 30-minute. Okay, price was on an overall uptrend. So is it just about finding whether this was a good loss or a bad loss? Because just because you took a loss on a trade doesn't mean that you did something wrong. A lot of traders get that thing wrong because losses are still a part of the game. Now it's a different story if you on notice that you could have did something better, where maybe if you didn't account for spreads, it got you tagged in early. But for me personally, on this trade, I'm pretty happy with the trade, how I executed it. I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I waited, got the entry, just didn't play out. So while I'm waiting, let me just take a look at the other markets real quick to see what's going on. Right here. This was a challenge loss I already went over. I didn't really go in depth because I'm not here to just show y'all challenge trades. I'm here to show y'all my actual funded account trades. That's what really matters. Um, right now I can automatically tell that there's not going to be an opportunity on the lower time frames. Uh, let me actually, I didn't add this in as well for my challenge. I also document my challenge trades as well. Did I? I wonder if I did. Maybe I lost my memory. Think, yeah, I didn't update that. That this was based on a 30-minute. So whenever you see me taking an entry, you're gonna see similarities between it over time. Over time, and I think I used a daily. There you go. Uh, we're gonna add that in. Now we can add what happened. So silver. So if you end up getting to manage your trade, you want to do what you want to write down what you did for your management rules as well. But since there's nothing to do, quick loss, nothing to do. So like I talked about, it's all about just the math behind the trading. So a lot of traders, the issue they have is whenever they lose way too big, and whenever they win, it's way too small. That's all it is. So if you notice what my losses, most of the times I'm able to cut my loss by half. So if I'm risking like $600 on average, if I'm able to cut the losses as 300, occasionally I'll get a full loss. It's what it is, But when I win, sometimes it can be, one times my risk, maybe like $600 as a small like partial, and then it comes back to break even, or I maybe make two R, what's that, 1200, or if I get a large runner where it's going to 4, 5, 6 R, that's even more in profit that covers my futures loss. So that's what you got to think about. Your winning trades covers your future losses. So I can, like I said, I can automatically tell silver is not in a clear context for a 5 minute time frame. USD JPY, I can automatically just tell it's not good. Ever since we had that break even trade somewhere in this somewhere, uh, I forgot where exactly in this area. Price has just not been looking good. I didn't take a trade on here. Actually, let me delete that. I don't want to confuse nobody. I'm just scanning through the other markets to see what's going on. No, not interested in none of these markets right here. Yeah, not interested in none of these markets. Wonder if there's other markets I could take a look at while I'm waiting for something more clear to happen over here. Um, Let me see. So I'm just showing y'all this real quick. This is called the Mentaflex Sentiment Viewer. It's just a way to like look through markets fast, like based on what the overall direction is doing. So the red is basically mainly short for the intraday. The red is mainly is short for the basically the higher time frames and stuff like that. So I basically want to trade with the bullish markets for now, and I basically like to see all the daily be mostly green and the intraday day be mostly green. And then I will just take a look at the market, see if it's clear. If it's not in a good context right now, then I just don't trade it. So oftentimes what people don't see is the trades that you don't take, because within the trades that you take, there's going to be a lot of waiting, setup, waiting, setup. And that's what you're gonna see with I have a new video that's gonna release today at like 2 o'clock, showing you how your wins, like you could still make money being wrong. I showed a little peek in my stream on my live stream last week about the on showing y'all the results. I was basically doing basically my understanding of how the markets move with trends. I just made a simple entry criteria. It's not the one I use right now, but it's a simple entry criteria, and I was just trading it to show y'all like y'all don't need to have this high win rate to make money. And I showed y'all the whole live process. That whole video is like over an hour long. For anybody who wants to actually learn properly. So it just proves to show like you can be profitable even with a 30% win rate. Oh, that doesn't matter. Let's see. So Euro AUD. Hmm. I wonder how that looks. I'm trying to shift away from like forex pairs like that, but it's 66% daily on bullish and 90% bullish for the intraday. So what I can do is it doesn't mean that I'm gonna go into the market and start placing buys. It means I'm just gonna show up, analyze it, see if it's in a clear context, and see if I need to do anything. If not, then there's nothing to do. Euro, Euro AUD. Right here. So we're gonna see together what it's telling us. So I don't start on the 5 minute, even though it's my entry time frame. I have a whole bunch of things I gotta do before going on this entry time frame. So I'm gonna start off with the 5 hour. Okay, this actually looks surprisingly. It looks good. Hold on, let me start with the overall. Overall, we're moving in a nice cycle where we flush. So the flushes, we come under the MAs, we come up, we pause nicely at the 20 to continue a setup higher. So that's for a daily specifically. Like, if I was to guess, there would probably be an entry for someone who was like a 6 hour trader or a 4 hour trader somewhere under here. Look at this. So you can see my entry. Sometimes they work, sometimes they're gonna fail. That happens with every single strategy. And if you can't learn that earlier on, you're just gonna be spending most of your journey just switching strategies because you're trying to find something that doesn't lose a lot, which doesn't make sense. Because you're here to make money. You're not here to be correct all the time. You're here to make money. So, you know, if I was like a 4 hour trader, this would have been an entry. You could see the similarities between my entries and something like this, where you wait for the impulse, the pause, moves higher. So, but I'm analyzing for a 5 minute. If I go on a 30 minute right here, let me see if I can see a potential cycle going on. So yeah, this looks extremely clean and bullish. So if I label this out for y'all right here, you got the flush. Price comes under all the MAs, restarting the cycle. Um, okay, let me here. We could say this was like the validation break of structure because this is a validation time frame, validating the move before going on the entry time frame. Um, this whole thing, like this is harder to tell. This is where it gets more subjective because you can consider this the tool. You can consider this the tool right here, but I'm gonna consider this one the second one. So usually after the flush, we get 4 to 5. So we have 2, we have 3. UBS 3. No, and potentially what I'm waiting for is for price. What I want price to do is before going on a lower time frame, I want it to come down either to the 10 and 20 pause, and that's when I will go on the lower time frame to look for the same setup, which is basically impulse is a clear example. Same thing. Impulse, pause, buy, stop. Right by the 50. It has to come as either close to the 50, under the 50, or whatever. Either one of those. I could wait for a potential setup. but it looks extremely good. I'm gonna actually add that here. I did not know your AUD was moving like that. Your AUD, there you go. I didn't know it was moving like that. Come on now. Let's drag this all the way up. Put this in green. I even like it better than how gold looking too. Because gold, low-key looking choppy in this area. Unless we can like clearly show that we're coming out of this range. Because like I talked about it before, there's multiple parts to my system. So how I determine whether I'm gonna decide to enter things. So right here, I said in my last stream, I said on price moves in the stage ones and stage twos, where we're basically moving sideways, and then we're expecting the expansion, sideways, expansion, and it goes with the structure. It doesn't happen cleanly, but this is showing me a little bit of sideways action. So that's why I would have to wait for price to come up a bit more out of this area, start to rise with the MAs to show that okay, we have potential to move out of this stage one right here to make that stage two higher. So that's basically all it is, and then you pair it with the higher time frame. So remember, y'all, like most of these strategies you see online, they work. They completely work. But the problem is a lot of people are just not entering it in the right times, the right market conditions. Because my simple entry, this right here, if I'm entering it where we have the impulse, the small pause, if I'm entering it everywhere I see a setup, then I'm gonna have random results. And that's a lot of times why people are confused why they're winning sometimes, and then the rest of the times they're losing. Other Even when they follow their rules, it could be the context of the market, or it can be simply you're not patient for you don't know how your system works. Because if it's normal where you tested the system and you notice that losing streak is normal for you, or that drawdown is normal for you, you just need to trade it. Nothing else. Nothing more, nothing less. So it took me a long time to realize that trading is just really a boring game. You come to my streams, it's not gonna be like some exciting thing where you already see me in a trade. Luckily I did get a trade today, but it ended up being a loss. I definitely like Euro AUD better. So I'm gonna be stocking actually Euro AUD rather than gold because it's more of in the stage one. I do need it to pop out more to look for opportunity, but I like how this is just clearly moving bullish right here. Clearly moving bullish. So by the time we come down to the 10 or 20, this is what will happen on the this was what probably would happen is by the time it's at the 10 and 20 on the 30 minute, the 5 minute is going to show that it's either close to at 50 right here, and then I just have to wait. So even when you're on the lower time frames, you still have to have some level of patience in your trading. Like look at all the good traders or traders who actually made some profit. They will tell you that you need to have patience, some form of patience. Like even with my challenge, I'm showing that the challenge process on my YouTube for a reason. I'm showing that because the people online make it seem like they're not doing good on the challenge when you spend a good time on the challenge. Right? Because they post videos like passing your trade in passing my challenge in one trade, passing it in one day, all that. That makes you feel like, oh, I need to pass my trade quick, quick, quick. I never expect my challenge to get passed in a day. If you look, one of my titles, I did have a title that said passing my challenge in one trade. That was with my funded account I have now with Effexify. I actually ended up passing it in one trade, but I didn't walk into that challenge expecting to pass the challenge in one trade. I ended up placing a trade with my same rules, right? And I was managing the trade, and it just ended up going crazy. So I was like, okay, it's a challenge. If it just gets to that 10R profit, I'm gonna just close the trade, and it ended up happening. It's not gonna happen all the time. That's the reality. Sometimes there's gonna be a period where you're trading and you're just in drawdown. And that's what happened with that. The recent challenges I took, I bought 500K in challenges. I started off a bit rough, but this one trade is putting me way back into profit. You know, even though because you can see the balance right here, I'm in drawdown. But eh, this trade, what you got to understand is I still don't expect this trade to make money. The reason why is the my system on how I before I get into a trade, this is how I approach it. I show to the market. My first thought process is, okay, I'm not gonna get a trade today, but what's in myself, what's presented itself. Okay, boom. I see an opportunity. I enter a trade. So the first thing I assume when I enter a trade is it's gonna be a loss. And the reason why I assume it is because I'm not having any expectations. All I'm doing is just executing rules. So when I assume it's a loss and it's a loss, nothing to do. I simply see whether was it the first loss of the day or is it the second loss of the day. Depending on which one I'm at, I could look for another opportunity or walk away. If I do happen to my next my trade will be a break even. So simply, if it returns to my entry part and I get a break even, I could look for another opportunity. Or if it's late, I can just leave the charts to look for another opportunity, trade in there. Or if I end up getting my first partial, right? If I end up getting my first partial, the second half of my position will get stopped out at break even. And if it ends up getting running higher and higher where I'm able to trail it, good. I just made a lot of money on one trade. And that's why I mean like the way how I trade is just um positioning myself so the what's it called? It's very unfair. Like giving myself an unfair advantage when it comes to trading. That's what you have to do. That's what an edge means, giving yourself an unfair advantage. Uh yeah, a very unfair advantage because if I look at this trade right here, yeah, it's all the way up like about like 4R, but it doesn't mean I can get 4R. My rules for this is just to wait for the third candles to close. If it's up at least above a 1 to 2, I'll take a 50% partial. So as long as price stays above this 1 to 2 with this third candle, I'll take a partial. But it doesn't mean that something crazy can't happen and then it ends up closing down here where I have to wait again. It doesn't mean that can't happen because anything is possible. And a lot of traders make it seem like because they have a specific strategy, um, the specific thing that they're waiting for has to happen. So they can't accept their losses, especially when they haven't tested at all. So imagine like you show up to the market, you haven't tested anything, and you hear about the strategy and you're expecting it to happen no matter what. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Because I understand that my win rate sits around 30 to 40%. So I understand that out of 10 trades, I may win two or three. I understand that. I understand out of 100 trades, I may lose 70 trades, win 30. And that's why I told y'all in the last stream, when y'all trading this year, trade based on your data. But when you're trading based on your data, expect those losses to come. And once those discount the losses as long as you're following your system. After you back tested, you demo tested, and you're simply just counting your losses when you're on your live account or your challenge or your funded account, you're counting those losses and stuff like that. You're gonna notice that those losses are just adding up with those break evens, just adding up with those small winners and large winners, depending on your system. Because I know sometimes you can have a system where you just want to aim for a 1 to 2 and get out of the market. That's completely fine. Or if you want to aim for a 1 to 1, that's completely fine. It's all up to you based on what you tested. So the same system I look for a runner, you can just aim for a quick 1 to 2 or 1 to 1 if you wanted to. You know, it's all about preference. Uh, let's see, what can I talk about while I'm waiting? I just been switching, clicking buttons and everything. What else can I talk about? Mm, Let's see. Like another thing is just treating your trading like the actual business. And what do I mean by that? Like you can see I have my journal over here. The journal, like a lot of people, you'll be surprised on a lot of people who don't journal. And I know people may say like I don't need to journal, but I feel like it is a must because how are you gonna improve? Just like a business, how are you gonna improve on like say if you're in sales? How are you gonna improve your sales if you can't look back at your data to see what you know, stuff like that. You need to look at your data, and journaling in itself is taking data from your actual live trading. So just imagine like you already have the back tested data, you're demo testing after that. So you got your demo testing data, and when you're on your funded account or your live account, you're journaling every single trade properly. You know, you can look back. Like it's just a huge advantage to doing that. And I bet I can ask the question to most traders. How many traders have actually done that prior work? That prior work of actually learning their system. I can ask how many traders have at least 100 trades on sheet, or how many traders have at least 100 trades in the journal? Most of them will say, I don't have them. And do you think it's a coincidence that the same number of people who like fail long term are the same number of people who don't have the amount of data or they're rushing the process because oftentimes them not wanting to back test or demo test or doing all this work comes down to either they don't know because there's a lot of what can I say? A lot of bad information online. Either they don't know or they don't want to put in that work because it takes a lot of time. Because whenever I tell somebody, "Oh, you're gonna have to back test for at least 100 trades before you start making money," and before you even do that, you have to demo test for at least 6 months. Um, that seems like a lot of time in their mind, right? Seems like a lot of time, so they're not gonna do it. But to me, that's worth the overall risk because, you know, once you gain the skill, right, you can scale up your account. You scale up your account, especially with prop firms, and the same amount of work that you're doing now can make you more money with the same amount of work. And what do I mean by that? This same system right now that I'm executing when I had a smaller account that got me payouts, um, yeah, the payouts were much smaller, right? But it was the same execution that I'm doing now. And now that I have a bigger account, that same execution that I do this year will make me more money than the year last year and the year before that. And that's how it works. People don't think long term. They don't think long term because a lot of people are just showing individual how I made $5,000 on this trade, how I made $10,000 on this trade. So your brain automatically makes you feel like you're doing bad when you're taking multiple trades to make profit when that's actually how trading goes. It's actually crazy that it took me so long to figure that out. I figured that out in 2022. Like it's actually multiple trades. Because trust me, I used to be the person that whenever I went on a losing streak, I would end up switching my strategy. I went from regular like um support and resistance. I don't say retail because we're all retail. I went from regular support and resistance, do these other concepts with trend lines and all that. Switch when like order blocks and supply and demand was first really getting like popular, like in 2021. I knew they was like there back then, like even further, but when it was really like more people started to find out about it, I swapped to that. I thought I was trading with the banks, and then I ended up switching from there to basically the same concepts but different mentors with then ICT went on a losing streak. Ended up switching back to the strategy I was using before, and then when I went to 2022, I was still trading with a little bit of order blocks, but over time, though, I stuck with the same teacher basically, and over time, my strategy it just had to become refined. Um, because all the concepts are basically like the same. It's just how you view them. Mm, So notice like even though like I'm on the lower time frame, I still just gotta wait. Like even if you're on a 1 minute, there's probably like something for a 1 minute, but I'm not interested in the 1 minute. Maybe if I was doing it like entering for a challenge, but I'm not interested for the 1 minute right now. But I could guarantee you, I could probably find something for the 1 minute if I wanted to, um, like the higher time frame. This would be like the context time frame for your for the 1 minute, waiting for all these indicators to load, taking so long to load. Where are my tools? All right, the 6 minute will basically be the validation, and simply what you would wait for is like the same thing, like a pause before jumping on a 1 minute time frame, because at that point it would have flushed down to that 50, which is that just basically the same thing on the higher time frame. Like, let me show y'all examples, because I'm just showing y'all like stuff while I'm waiting for my setup, because I feel like just giving value, y'all learning and stuff as I go, it can be beneficial for y'all. I think it was, I can't actually trade copper, but it was this area that I was looking at before I realized I couldn't trade copper. I was about to trade it for like a challenge. But if you look right here, this area right here, if you were a higher time frame trader, this impulse, this small pause, a buy stop of this high would have been an entry. If you were specifically a 4 hour trader, you will use like something like a daily time frame as your validation, and it's probably right around that 10, just like that. Context time frame would be like a weekly. So you can just see the same thing over and over as I switch the time frames. So you can see the same thing. You have a flush. We have the move up first on mini breaker structure, the second mini. So that's the starting point of a cycle if it does want to continue. And then yeah, but at a similarly, right? That same entry right here that would have been a 4 hour time frame trader. If you're not a 4 hour trader, right? Simply you just wait for the a move up, right, out of this flush, because you could consider this the flush. So basically your entry, like for your trades, are basically the move into the starting points of that created the first break of structure that creates multiple breaks of structure, if you get what I'm saying. Because this entry right here is similar to this right here, where we flush and restarted the cycle. So your entry is basically on the idea of price restart in the cycle to continue the cycle again. Because if the cycle were to continue, price will usually hold, like start from the 50, then start a trend, and then restart by the 50. And if it wants to hold up, it will restart a trend, right? So even right here, even though it failed a little bit, this area is still not like invalid if you were like a 4 hour trader. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at the validation, which in the 4 hour time frames case, you would need price to pause by the 10, which is the black line, or the 20, which is the red line. So it's coming down to the 20. So simply price can easily do something like this on the 4 hour, where it starts to push back up with momentum and creates the setup like that. So it could do that. So this area is still like valid if you were a 4 hour trader. It's just a lot more waiting you have to do. Let me see. Just checking back to see what it's doing. It's just pushing up with a lot of momentum. And the good thing about, let me talk about this thing as well. The good thing about the entries as well is, so the one thing I noticed about a lot of traders, right? Let me talk about this first. Whenever they have a bias, right, and they're wrong about their bias, they would end they would end up taking a lot more loss. So if they take a loss, they would end up taking a lot more losses in one area, in one single area. So even if they're risking they have correct risk management and they're risking a set 1%, if they're taking multiple losses in one area, then that 1% loss can easily turn to 3, 4, 5, 6. But when I'm waiting for this buy stop, right? This is why it's like a huge advantage right now. So either I could take a quick loss, price fails down, and there's nothing to do, and I'm not here taking multiple losses in this area because I had to wait for price to look clear again before looking for another trade setup. But in the event that this actually plays out, I can be paid very like a lot. And in the event that I get my rules to cut my loss, that's another bonus for me. So the more like advantages you can do where you have set rules to cut the loss, you have set rules um to catch a large runner potentially, it gives you a huge advantage. Trust me. Uh what else? Mm-mm-mm-mm. Like if I could find that break even trade I took, let me actually go in here because I have it in here. So while I wait, this break even trade I took, right? After I took that break even, then I took an image after. Yeah, after I took that break even, it ended up failing down, and simply ever since that fell down, I haven't touched the USD JPY because it's not looking clear in terms of the cycle I want to see. So you see when even though I expect a certain thing, so I was expecting the cycle to continue from this area. When it fails, I could either take a quick loss, quick break even, or a small partial before the move fails down and there's nothing to do for a while until there's proof. So if I go on this higher time frame, look at this. It looks completely ugly. Nothing for me to do because if I go on a context time frame that was with that 5 minute that I entered the trade, we're flushing and we're just not doing anything. We didn't make a move significantly. So that's why I just said I'm not looking at USD JPY. I'm not interested. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying I don't tell people to just trade one market. I feel like there's endless opportunity. But it doesn't mean that you're trading every single market. So you can see that I have a lot of markets on my list. Some of those are just stocks I just invest in because I don't have they don't have it on the platforms that I'm trading with. But you can see that I have a lot of markets that I'm look at right. But it doesn't mean I'm trading all of them because I wait for the context to be right. Because you remember, you know how I say context a lot. I wait for the context to be right, and I match it with my strategy. If you don't have the context right, you're gonna be taking random trades, even though you're taking your entry setup, and it's gonna give you random results because you're just taking everything and anything. So if you don't have a feel for what you're doing, then losses, unnecessary losses. That's the worst thing because losses aren't necessarily bad, but unnecessary losses, yeah, that's something you need to work on. That's it. And me thinking in that, like, okay, I'm just been giving value. Let me give you this value right here. I think in that. So me thinking in that, it helps me a little bit more not to over risk, even when I'm in drawdown, right? Because for example, right? If let's just say I'm on a set risk of 1%. Risking a set risk of 1%, right? And basically, like it wouldn't make sense mathematically to over risk on the next trade because one, nobody has 100% win rate. So if I'm walking on into the market with my 50% win rate, 40% win rate, whatever win rate you have, just say you have a 40% win rate, right? If I walk into the market and I decide to over leverage today, there's still a 60% chance you can lose that trade. And now, boom, you lost all your gains on one trade. Does that make sense mathematically from a business perspective? Think like a business when you like a business. Because you don't want all your hard profits to go away based on one risk. You're looking at your data and you only win 40% of the time, but you want to over risk on the next trade. No. Allow your edge to play out, whether that's with you getting yourself positioned nicely in a trend, taking your small losses, taking your small break evens, and so on. Hmm. Notice this right here. So complete flush, complete flush. Took one loss, nothing to do in that area. So if I was to reanalyze gold now, because it was in the stage one, because like I said, price moves in stage ones, we fleshed out moving in distribution, which is price moving like short term bearish, right? That even goes with on my theory about we have multiple bullish breaks, we have a break of a low, and potentially the target can be the high again, because a lot of people are gonna think this market is ready for sales with maybe a break in retest and stuff like that. Could potentially work, but the market is overall bullish, so the likely move is higher. But if I was to reanalyze this and go on my validation, there would be just nothing to do specifically for this time frame, right? Because with flush, I would have to wait for price to, come out of this move, make a clean pause, then go back on the lower time frame. But I can honestly tell this is setting up for another time frame. So, like I was on the 30 minute, if you're a 30-minute trader, I could tell like this same entry that I wouldn't look for like right now would be probably an entry for a 30-minute trader if they were waiting for this impulse, a pause, right? And then they buy stop the high because that would be like the starting point of a move, which is basically the same thing I'm expecting. I need to wait for because that will be an entry for that time frame trader. But my time to look for the trade would be all the way up here for even lower time frame trader. So it's basically the same thing. You see how everything is just aligning in terms of that. Okay. Since all these markets look trash, I'm gonna take these out of my walk. These red ones out of the watch list. And yeah. So yeah, this is the sentiment viewer. It's a good tool to use to analyze the market. This was with my mentor. If y'all want to know my mentor, he's my mentor. I used to be in his mentorship like 2 years ago. No, it was 3 years ago. Yeah, it was 3 years ago and stuff like that. So he had this tool right here. This is the free version and stuff like that. I would have to join the his mentorship again to see the full version, but you don't necessarily need it. But it makes everything more efficient because once you realize there's lots of markets to trade with, right? And you just need to spot the one in the best conditions. You open yourself to making yourself a lot more money. So that's what I'm basically trying to do when I'm looking at this thing right here, so I can quickly see, okay, what markets are really bullish, really going higher. Like Euro USD looking good too. All those. Let me take a look at what Euro USD looking like. And look, one thing you got to notice too is even though it may say bullish, I still got to analyze. And me looking at this right now, it's not ready. Just not ready. Specifically for a what's it called, 5 minute entry. Maybe something is here for a mm, maybe something is here for a if you were like a 4 hour trader with this move right here, the buy stop of that to continue the overall move higher. Yeah, but specifically for the 5 minute, nope, nothing to do. That's how I can like just quickly like, all right, your USD not good. On to the next one. Uh, so that was your USD. What GBP AUD talking about? Wait, GBP AUD. It's similar to Euro AUD, so I'm gonna skip over that. I don't want to really GBP CAD, GBP CAD. Hey, oh wait, this is basically the same thing. Wait, this looks like exactly the same as Euro AUD for that. If you were like a 5 hour trader, like a 4 hour. Remember how I said like something like this would be your entry, and it was similar to I think. No, it wasn't Euro USD. It was yeah, it was Euro USD. Creating the same type of setup there. But I could tell like potentially I could start hopping on a lower time frame to see what's going on. So we had a flush. We had like the potential first sign of bullishness with that first break of structure on the higher time frame. So I'm going to 30 minute. So I gotta validate what I'm looking for. Well, we had bullish structure. We flushed out right here. I mean, it's moving nice, but it's not moving as good as Euro AUD. Like we had the flush right here. We had the first mini break of structure, the second right here. Consider this overall area the second. And either way, there wouldn't have been an entry right here. It just moved up. There was no pause as it flushed down to the 50. So just checking back on here real quick. Yeah, nothing moving. Let's see. Um, USD CAD. Wow, who knew all this Marcus was? Let me check the context. Let's see what's going on. Ew, no way. Nah, nah. I don't like this market. I don't like it right here. Delete that. As of right now, because we made the like I'll consider this whole thing the flush right here. Honestly, let me check the 30 minute. Here's the flush. It could start a move for specifically a lower time frame. Like so, let me look at the higher time frame to see what we're overall. Nah, I don't like it at all. So me looking at like one more step. If you're a lower time frame trader, like if it just for more clarity, you can just go to the daily, weekly to see more clarity. And what I see here is basically an overall stage one like this. So it could potentially start moving clear in a little bit. It's almost like ready to move clear, basically. But I need a basically a more of a pop above, a nice pause to like indicate okay, potentially is ready for a move. But if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it as a stage one, still in that stage one right here, especially since this candle hasn't closed. Because even though this candle is moving bullish, it still has 7 hours that can close all the way down here, which just shows you it's still in that stage one. Because stage one is just basically that sideways moving action. Stage two is basically that move higher out of that action. So I wouldn't touch USD CAD for as of right now. Silver, I don't think yeah, silver ended up falling off. I said I wasn't looking at it. Gold, look at gold too. 81% bullish on the higher, 87 percent. Like the markets that are really going a heavy bullish trend that show you like probably like at least 75 for the bullish, at least I'll say 70 for the intraday, those are really good markets, really really good markets because those are like just heavy trends, heavy trends. Yeah, I said I wasn't looking at this. I almost forgot. Mm, Still just waiting. Wonder what else I can talk about while I'm waiting. I feel like these live streams are really good to show you how much waiting you have to do as well when it comes to trading. Because previously I used to do live trading like every day on my Instagram story, but it's a different feeling because if I don't trade for the day, I don't like post anything because I feel like a lot of people aren't gonna sit there through me just waiting for a trade. They want to see an actual trade, and then whenever I take a trade, I'll just show it. But I feel like it got to a point where I was like, I feel like I can be more transparent because anybody can easily post a trade on their story and then not show the losses, even though I was showing all my wins, losses, and break evens, all those. And then I will show like the weekly result and the monthly result. I feel like it's more people can understand better what you got to do and in terms of waiting because waiting is a part of trading as well. If you can't wait, you're not gonna make money trading long term. I also used to do live tradings on my YouTube, but it wasn't a stream. It was made just like I'll make the YouTube video, I'll um see a setup, and then I will just record it real quick. I'll wait to see a setup, and then as soon as I look like I'm about to get tagged in, I'll record it. But it's not a good way to like show like trading because it doesn't. People can like easily clip out stuff, or I don't know. I'm just trying to help y'all learn because even now I still learn because there's a lot of improvements I want to do. There's a lot of things I want to do and accomplish for trading and stuff like that. So anything I learn, I'm definitely gonna be like just sharing it. Why not? We got 2 minutes on this candle, and I'm just still waiting on this move. So the next candle to just pause against the either the 10 or the 20. Either one is fine. Ooh. Yeah, the only downside for me to do these live streams is I have to basically sit around the charts a lot more because usually what I would be doing right now is probably working on a YouTube video or something for my business, either one of those. But I just adjusted the schedule to do it later on, and just sitting around the charts for so long because, like I said, I have to. If even if I'm a 5 minute trader, I'm waiting on this 30 minute to set up good before going on a lower time frame. So that's a lot of waiting. And one thing I could say is, well, I feel like majority of the people I would say like they don't question why people usually sell their time or sell their value or whatever. And I look at it as you can actually trade it. There's nothing wrong with actually selling your value because at the end of the day, I noticed this myself. Whenever you provide free value, there's gonna be less people that take it seriously. as free, right? They don't see it as real value because it's free. Now, if somebody, if they were paying like a price tag that really mattered to them, they will take it way more seriously. So imagine if you came into this, right? And let's just say, in order to see these live streams, you had to pay $100,000, a big number, absurd number, right? And let's make it like this as well. Let's say if I was to see somebody, right? And I said you have to pay $100,000, but there's a catch to it. Once you learn, right, or you follow the process. So let's say I tell you to do all three steps. What you got to do with the back testing, the demo testing, putting money you can afford to lose, all that. Let's say you do that. Let's say I tell you if you break one rule, I get to keep your $100,000. If you trade for the whole year and follow your rules, no matter the wins, losses, and break evens, I'll refund you your $100,000. So how do you think your performance will be? It'll be way better because not only did you test your system, you saw the data play out. Now you have money on the line. If you don't follow that rules, you're not getting your $100,000 back. But if you do, you're getting that money back. Plus, you got free value and how to trade. So that's more money for you in the future. Sometimes the audio seems fall off. How does the audio? How does it sound like? Does it sound glitchy? Because this is my first time like really live streaming. Because I'm using this thing right here, and I tried screen recording with it too, and some parts sounded like glitchy. I'm not sure if it's doing it. This is exactly what I want to see right here. Is exactly what I want to see. This pullback right here. Because as it pulls back, it's gonna be pulling back towards that 50. So even if it creates a setup right here, I wouldn't be interested. I want it at least close to the 50 or at the 50 or under it. Let's see. Mhm. So I have to keep in mind too. So one of my rules. So I took one loss this week so far. It's just the start of the week. So my rules is basically no more than two losses in a day or three losses in a week. So I took one loss this week. If I take three losses this week, I'm not gonna be trading this week, and I'm basically not gonna stream. But I'm gonna show y'all like if I ended up taking three losses this week, I'm gonna show y'all like next week that everything is the same. The quality's not bad, but sometimes it moves away. I think that I think the stream lags a little bit. There's a little like now I can hear it very clear. That I come on stream. If it's the audio, I might just have to use my mic. Maybe my mic will help clear up the audio. I have to go look for it though, and then I have to try to test if it's gonna work. Mm, just take a look at the lower. Now you can't hear. Let me. See, hold on. Try try opening the app. Closing and opening the app. See if that works. It's almost so the way how I can determine if price is close to this 50 enough is basically just waiting for that 10 to be met. Or at least close because price can if it wants to like push up a huge move with momentum, then it's gonna start to basically rise with the MAs as it starts to move up. So basically something like this where it doesn't completely touch, but as the momentum pushes back up, it rises and stays above it. Just waiting game. Then just waiting. So let me draw out what I'm waiting for. So this basically this will move like this. Like that. That will look clear to me. Everything else doesn't look good. Patience. My other phone. Analyze. We go back on the hard time frame so I can see if it's at a good area. We could come down lower. Yeah, we could come down lower, so I'm gonna wait a little bit more. Especially it's not too close to that 50. Ugh. Do, 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 do. Like if you think about trading right now, let's get this rectangle tool. Actually, I don't want to do this. It's mad work to explain this. Huh. Huh. Keep in mind, Euro AUD is not a market that I just show up to just trade them all the time. Like, I wonder if I could like go to a part where Euro USD didn't look so clear. Damn, price has been looking clear all of this year for your AUD. This cycle. Oh, this is so clean. This is just so clean on how it's moving. This is so clean. But basically, like this whole time, like this whole area right here, I never traded Euro AUD. This whole area, I basically never traded Euro AUD. So basically, look at this right here. This whole time from 2023, this whole area. Because if you look at this, this is basically a stage one. Probably happening on a weekly. It's moving sideways. It's not doing much, so you don't want to touch the market. Let's see if we can see it more clearly. Right here, look, this is the stage one. See price interacting with the MAs as it's moving sideways. The first bit of proof we had that price could potentially make its way higher is right here. It paused, but then it ended up reflushing, and then boom, this move up shows you just clear proof. Because now instead of being stuck in the stage one where the orders are just being trapped, it made a nice move up, showing a potential for a cycle with a flush first, and behold, everything is just moving accordingly. It's just about how can I get myself positioned in the move as well. That's all it's about. Mhm. Mm, mm, mm. Do, 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 mm, do, 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 do. I wonder what else I could talk about. Mm, 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 mm. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 mm, 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 mm. Do, 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 do. So much waiting. Meantime, I'm gonna check more potential markets. Did I look through all of this? I don't even remember if I looked through all of this. Yeah, I think I did. Damn, I don't got access to everything. Yeah. Wonder if there's anything I missed in terms of moves. AUD, NZD, I already looked at GBAUD. Let me take a look. Let me see if that one is setting up better than Euro AUD. It's setting up just the same. Let me go back to Euro AUD. That's why I said I was gonna just either way. I was looking to trade just one, but I was wondering like maybe GBP AUD is a bit closer to the 50 as its own rising up. Charge my phone. Let's see. I wonder what else I can just talk about. Give value. Give value. It's a game of just waiting patient. Just taking a break from talking. Not waiting. We check the higher time frame to see how close is it coming up to that. And then after the life of trading. Yeah. So Price can just either just leave without me because I needed to come just a bit closer before waiting for a setup. Something right here could set up higher. I just needed to come at least a little bit closer. with a slanted drawing. And then after whether I get another trade or not today, I'm gonna go over the monthly P&L. Then I'm gonna go over January's P&L. Then February, show y'all that I didn't take any trades in February because it's the end of the first quarter. So I'm just gonna keep y'all updated as we trade in alongside the year, as transparent as it gets. Just on my phone right now while I'm waiting for anything to happen. I'm just on my phone, just chilling. There's nothing to do. Can't force the markets to speed up. And I feel like I've been talking a lot, so I gave a pretty much good value. If anything comes to mind, I'll talk about it. I got one I could talk about. The same patience that I'm doing right now. Like think about trading. Like if anybody have ever driven before on the road. So you know how we had to yield for uncommon cars, right? It's the same thing with patience. Like when you're driving on the road, let's say you trying to yield, right? You gotta wait for all those cars, wait for the cars to clear up, so you can drive onto the road with the other cars. You feel me? So you have to wait for all those other cars. And if you go too early, then you could cause an accident, hurt yourself, hurt others, all that. Same thing with trading. If you're not patient enough to wait for your setup, wait for it to be clear, wait for the road to be clear, then you're gonna end up, taking these unnecessary losses. You may get like a lucky win, but a lucky win is even worse in my opinion. When you take a lucky win for not following your setup, that's even worse because you're gonna do it again because it worked last time. So, in your head, you're gonna be like, oh, it may work again. When that's not how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to be patient, just like driving on the road, and execute when it's clear. Oh, that was a good analogy for y'all. I, I came up with that analogy when I was driving. I was like, yo, trading is really similar to driving on the road. Ain't no special book or a special video gonna teach you about patience. It's just about doing it, doing the actions right now. It's it's basically like with discipline. With discipline, in order to get discipline, you got to start with doing daily actions, and over time, doing the same thing over and over consistently will lead to discipline because it's gonna be like you're used to it. And that's why I feel like my method of approaching how you should get your psychology right is way better because it builds that discipline. Because when you're the reason why it builds discipline is because you're when you're doing that repetition of backtesting your trades for at least 100 trades or a bit more, you're doing the repetition of seeing the same thing over and over. That's that discipline. And then when you take it a step further for on demo testing that strategy, you're building the discipline because now you actually have to implement that patience on the charts because like we all know that back testing you can go through price action like that very quickly. So it's not gonna feel like you're waiting a lot. But you doing those steps definitely gonna build some discipline. And simply if you can't complete those steps, you know, just don't move on to a challenge. Don't move on to putting your actual money because at that point you're just showing how impatient you are. Because if you can't even show that you're profitable in the demo testing, like or the back testing, like you can't prove that you can't do those first two steps, then there's no reason you should go on to the challenge. Because now you're just gonna be like everybody else who blew like 20, 30, 40 accounts. Now, I documented how many accounts I have lost before. I do gotta update it. Ever since that video, I think I lost probably one more. I'm not sure, but I know like in total, the amount of funded accounts slash challenge accounts that I lost is less than 10. Less than 10 because like I talked about, I didn't start seeing results until like late 2022. And during my time of actually learning the proper process, I wasn't losing money because I was back testing. So I was gaining the confidence through back testing. And then I was demo testing for a long period of time after that. Even my beginning years, the most I ever did was I opened up a live account, threw $50 in there. I grew it. I talk about the story a lot, but I grew it to like 120 something, and then I blew it on Bitcoin. Don't ask me why I traded Bitcoin, but yeah, I traded Bitcoin and I was trading US 30 after that too. But I ended up blowing that account once, and after that, I the next thing I did was I that's when like challenges and platforms was getting a little bit more popular. Like that was like early 2021. Applied for FTMO challenge, and I ended up like I didn't understand the rules fully. One thing a lot of people do is they will apply for a challenge and they don't even read the rules. So that's something I did too. I applied the challenge for the challenge, didn't even read the rules, and I think I ended up. I think I thought I had passed the free trial. Yeah, I went for the free trial first. I ended up passing it, but not passing it. I thought I had passed. I hit the profit target, but I was risking way too much, so I ended up hitting the equity drawdown and I didn't realize. So I thought I was ready. So I ended up going for like a 10K account and I did horrible. I lost that thing in I think a day or two, either a day or two. So after that, like it was just one more challenge that I took. I forgot the company's name. I think they ended up shutting down, but I lost my challenge before they shut down. I forgot what it was called. This is the first. It was like the first platform that fell down. I think it was them. I think it was. Then after that, I was just on demo account. That's the one good thing I did like in 2021 was like even though I wasn't profitable yet, and I wasn't following the steps. After that, I was just on demo account. But every time when I would just hit a losing streak, I would just restart. So I would just basically be restarting my process. And then, plus, I didn't do the first step at that time. So whenever you're on trying to do that demo account, you have to do the first step because that's why demo account doesn't work for most people. They don't have an actual process to follow on that demo account. Let me check that 30 minutes to see if it's starting to move up closer. MAs are starting to catch up with the 10 MAs starting to catch up with it. Honestly, like this could set up right here, but I like it when it's a little bit more to the 50 because at that point it would be like okay, that's an indication of the cycle restarting. My forward twin, no, it wasn't my forward twin. My forward twin, I think, was the second firm to fall down. Was fun and I think it was fun and talent. I think it was that one. I have to check my email, but it was I know there was another prop firm that I had applied for after that FTMO. I think it was fun and talent, one of those. But staying on that demo account, like, definitely helped me from to not lose a lot of money in the beginning. Especially when I after that when I found out, oh, I got a back test, then do it. It really helped me because now a lot of people like to focus on the end result of trading without going through the actual process. So, but like think about it like this: if you go through the process now, the actual correct process to learn your system, by the time you actually get up to that live account, you're gonna perform way better and potentially this ain't a guarantee, but potentially start getting payouts and withdrawals. And at that point, since you didn't lose much money in the beginning stages because you were testing your process and all that, once you start getting the payouts, you can immediately like start making more money than someone who just heard about trading. They want to get rich quick, fast. They threw money into the live account and they keep doing that over and over because now they're in a cycle where they're blowing multiple accounts, blowing multiple challenges. And that's why you're going to hear a lot of people say, damn, I blew like 20 challenges. Damn, I blew like 30 challenges and stuff like that. Or not even the challenges don't really count as like um the amount you blow as well. I'd rather look at it from the standpoint of how many live accounts slash funded accounts. Because challenge accounts, you can still over risk on those challenge accounts just to pass them since there aren't real money. But once you get to that funded stage, you're actually like treating it like that's the money you can withdraw. So you gotta treat that conservatively. Unless you have like multiple accounts, you maybe use diversify your risk and stuff like that. But challenge accounts are more easier to blow when you're risking higher, depending on how you're trading it. If you're trading the challenge conservatively, then okay, you can look at it like that. It just depends. Like the challenges I'm trading right now, um, I'm not trading it like in the beginning. It was like, how can I explain it? My, basically, depending on the leverage, for certain time frames, it's not gonna allow me to enter. Like if I'm trying to enter on a 1 minute and I'm trying to do like 1.5, 1.5 risk, because that's the risk I really want to do for the challenges on gold or something, it's not gonna let me do it. So I have to risk way less. So my risk for the challenges is 1.5, but I didn't always start with 1.5. When I first like after I had gotten everything down packed with like actually studying my strategy, I started off with well, the first challenge I ever started off with, it was the Met Funding Challenge. I started off with a 0.25 risk. I don't recommend that at all, going that low for a challenge. And I'm gonna talk about my experience with that. I was trading it good, um, but I was taking too long on the challenge to the point where I didn't really want to trade the challenge no more. And I ended up saying in the video, and I ended up just waiting for the inactivity rule because it was a 25K account, and at that point, since I was taking the challenge for like 6 months and I was risking 0.25, it was going up steadily, but it was taking so long that either way, I wanted a bigger account. I wanted to try that 50K account as well. So I ended up losing that for the inactivity. But definitely, like when you're going for these challenges, start with something you can definitely like afford. Like I said, my first ever challenge that I bought was that FTMO. After I took the free trial, I bought a 10K FTMO, even though like I wasn't ready for it. I basically did everything right in the my beginning stages, but in the wrong order. I did it in the wrong order basically. Cause I did it like this. I started a live account, I started a challenge, then I went to a demo account, then I finally tested, then did it in the correct order. Okay, we coming close to that 50 right now. It's starting to rise up. So let me see. Go back to the 30 minute. If price were to make like a momentum move, the MAs will start to curve up with it. So you notice how like whenever I'm using my indicators, I'm not using them by itself. I'm pairing them with price action to tell a story on what's going on. So we're coming down right here. So we're making a cycle. So flush, one, two. I ain't notice three. That's the third one. Could say this is the fourth right here, fifth, before flush. Or if this falls down to 20 and it's close by this area, I could consider this the whole fourth one. So it depends on how price moves. So let's put it in lowercase four. So like I said, the last move, it could make the last move before reflushing. So unless I count this as the overall one where this is the fourth. So this is where some subjectivity, did I say it right, comes into play. Like if this is close enough and stuff like that. Consider that the fourth. You consider this the fifth right here. So either one is valid. Like you can, depends on you whether you want to stop trading at this point because you could stop trading right here because you're expecting like after the failure to break down. So what I can basically do for this particular trade idea is yeah, I've been moving high for a while. So I do think this is maybe the fifth one, depending. So if it comes down a bit closer, probably like in the same area as the fourth one, I'll count this whole thing as the fourth one, right? And then I could look for a potential on trend. But if it wants to set up right now, I'll consider this one the fifth one, and I won't look for a large runner. Like if I'm entering somewhere on the fourth, actually, yeah, for this specific one, I'm not gonna look for a large runner at all because the idea is since we create like at least 4 to 5 of these breaks of structure, I'm expecting a reflush. So it wouldn't make sense for me to try to catch a runner when we're almost at the end of the cycle in my eyes. So if you compare that to like this specific trade right here, the where it is in the cycle is completely different. Like let me go here. So after we get the flush right here, you could say this is the first one. Yeah, this is the first one right here. That's the first part. That's why I'm looking to catch this runner right here. But this one is like at the end of it. So I'm gonna look for like a 1 to 2 if I can get that entry. Just set 1 to 2 in this case. So yeah, it's moving close enough. So if it can set up, basically, actually, there's a few things I see. So it's close enough right now. There's a buy stoppable high right here. This is valid. It's holding up this low right here. I want to see what my stops look like right here because I got to keep in mind this is the fifth one. So I don't want my stop loss to be too large because if it's too large, it can take out the high and then miss my take profit and then reverse. But even though I expect this to be the fifth one, it doesn't mean that it can't create the sixth or a seventh one before on reflushing. It's just a general understanding on, okay, most of the times it may reflush at that fourth or fifth one. So you're gonna need to manage accordingly. So let me see. A 1 to 2 would probably be all the way up here. Now let me check the what's it called, validation time frame. Honestly, I feel like this is too large of a move to be created. Because to get to a 1 to 2, not only does it needs to break the high, it needs to go all the way up here. So I'm just imagining like a move. Yeah, I feel like that would miss my take profit by a bit. So what I could do in this scenario right here, because this entry is still valid right here. It's just preference right now because the take profit is right all the way up here. At the same time, another opportunity can be made inside of here. So what do I mean by that? It can create like basically a impulse move down here, a small correction inside of it, and this one would also be valid where I can have like maybe a smaller stop potentially like that, and now the 1 to 2 would be something like this, just above the high. Yeah, I like that trade idea because trading is about like looking at the markets say and your understanding is this trade worth the risk because you got to understand every trade like you take there's still a possibility you can lose that trade either way. This just got invalidated the high because it took out the low right there, but you need to look at the trade and be like, is this opportunity worth the risk, right? And then if it's worth the risk, you take on the risk because that's what trading is. It's risk for a potential reward. And that's what I do when I show to the market, is this worth the risk to take? Because in the event that it's worth the risk to take, in the event that it actually plays out, it's gonna pay you good. So that's why I'm just saying this on. Those are the questions you ask yourself too. So I really like this move. It finally came even closer to the 50. That's even better. So if we can make a nice mini setup right here, that will be my second on trade for the day. But similarly, it can just fail down. And then at that point, if price just ends up failing down, I can just walk away from this market. Like if it fails down completely. And by failing down completely, I mean by on this validation time frame, it will have to flush down to that or break aggressively that for that 20. Because at that point it would be showing something like this where it's restarting the cycle. Okay. So it's all about just waiting now. And there's just like when you're doing like a case study on what creates these moves, so you can just go into the moves and just do like a case study and just take images on what creates these moves, right? What creates these large moves. And you can just take images And you can see like there's different ways you can manage into a potential trend. Like there's not just one way. My set way is not like the end all be or like the end all way to just manage a trade. You know, you could see like if you watch my channels, my way of management has changed over time because there's gonna be better ways to get like take profits basically. So it's moving up. If we can make like a nice clean pause as it's moving up, like right here with the next candle that prints. But this has to look good. This right now it doesn't look good for me because it's just wicking it, not really closing. Like I need like an impulse pause and get in. Nothing more, nothing less. Nothing more, nothing less. Did I even input in my journal what happened? I'd be all over the place. I don't think I even inputted in my journal what happened with this last trade. Yeah, I did. Let me quickly. Yeah, I didn't input like the value right here. Um, total R. So I don't do it based on risk. I look at it based on R. R. So it's just simple right here. So that was a full loss right there for yeah that. And this was a challenge trade. The previous one before that, that was a challenge trade for 1R. So you can see like when I take a loss, it's very either extremely small or break evens. Then you may have like small gains and stuff like that. These are small gains in my eyes, but occasionally I'm gonna be inputting a very big win, especially if the trade that I'm in right now plays out like how I'm expecting. But I'm still expecting a break even though it's still up like 4R. Hope y'all learning something about the patience of every trader, like what a trader needs to do to be patient. And you can see how I run it just like a business. You know, I come up to the streams, I check my news to see what red news is coming. Um, take the images of the on trades, and if I do end up like forgetting to take the image, like I'll be like, oh, I forgot, and then I immediately take the image because that's what's gonna help me become a better trader in the future when I can look back, not the P&L at all. P&L doesn't make you a better trader. And sadly, people think P&L determines if you're the best trader at and stuff like that. It really doesn't. It's about your execution and how much RR you make, right? The actual P&L doesn't matter because somebody can have a large account and no, I could put it like this. Somebody can over risk like crazy on a trade and wait for it to go just a bit in profit and boom, they're up like what $2,000. But now you think they're the best trader in the world because you didn't see the actual execution and where they actually closed the trade. So made this move right here. Just depending on how this forms, right? So I wanted to pop up above just a bit more and then I'll make that pause. Then I'll set the buy stop. So it's like I know exactly what I'm looking for, especially when you spend your time just looking at the images of what you collected. You notice that price isn't exactly the same, but there's similarities. Think about price like a snowflake, right? When you look at a snowflake, everything looks the same. You look at each individual snowflake, everything looks the same. But if you look under a microscope, you could see slight differences. But it's the same on snowflake. Just like with price, the same things that I expect, it's the same things I expect across all markets, right? But the way that they happen may be slightly different. And then when you focus on the long term about actually getting more capital to trade with, you stop focusing on stuff like, oh man, I haven't traded in 2 days. Oh man, I haven't traded in a week. Oh man, all that. You stop caring about that because the moment you get a bigger account, it doesn't matter because one, you are following the process that makes you money, which is you have to wait for your setup. And two, with a bigger account, let's just say you had $200,000 and you ended up making 2% for the month. That's a cool with one trade. Let's just say the only trade you took for 1 month was a 2% winner, and you waited, and that happened like today or something like that. You know, that's $4,000 just off of one day for the month like that. So you don't need to be necessarily in a trade to be making money and stuff like that. This is the move I like to see. Let me see how long is it gonna close. 2 minutes. So we're gonna wait to see how this moves because we don't want like a move right here and then it ends up like closing under like right here. So it made a like a cool move above. Yeah, look, this is what I was talking about. This is why like to wait for the closure because I want to see like if it closes under here, like then it's like not really showing much. Let's see. Just waiting and just waiting. We got like 1 minute and 30 seconds to see what it's doing, and then if we can close nicely, we can set a buy stop if price ends up pausing within the next candle and stuff like that. We're just executing the same rules over and over and over time. And hopefully y'all watch the new video coming out today so y'all can see the executions, how executions over time leads to money being made. Okay. Always judge the candles based on the close of the candle because anything can happen. It can close all the way down here. I didn't understand that when I first started trading. Like I would get in before the candle closed. Like the only exception I make for that is my actual entry because I don't enter based on the closure of the candle above the. I'll just set like I just wait for price to actually cross it. With that, I have to accept that sometimes price would is gonna wick me and then stop me out. But just the stuff that I've been testing. Let me see. Doesn't look. It doesn't really look too. Yeah, it doesn't really look clean to me. Yeah, because it closed all the way under here. It doesn't look clean at all. Maybe there's some like clarity if I look at like switch between time frames. Because like I said, time frames don't really matter. It's the way to view orders. And me just looking at this, The orders look trash in this order. I don't like this area. Just waiting. And it's only 11:01, but we still, since we're on a 5 minute, we can still expect some type of movement to happen. Mhm. Just waiting. Just waiting. Waiting. Just waiting. Just waiting. Waiting. Feels nice to just move the chart like this. That's why I keep playing around with it while I'm bored. Alright, let me stop drawing. Message to all traders. Let me get my brush tool. Follow. Message to all traders. Follow your rules. Your process. Nah. We gonna do a different message for the day. We're gonna do focus on the process because I can tell somebody to follow their rules, but if they didn't do the process, then they're not gonna follow the rules. So we're gonna do. I could have kept the F and the O. So I'm gonna focus, focus while I'm bored. Focus. I can't draw on the. Ew, that was ugly. Focus on the process. Focus on the process. There we go. Nice message for every trader out there. Focus on the process. So this is probably still by that 10 / the 20 on the higher. Yes, by that 10 still. showing it's really good. So I'm just waiting for the same movement. Let me clear my chart now that I got the message across. Okay. Simply, if it just drops off more, I'm ending the stream because there's at that point everything else is just not looking good in terms of what I'm waiting for. This is a beautiful 15-minute entry, but in terms of what I'm waiting for, nothing else is setting up. Flushed. Uh, Drew out where the stage one is. Stage one starting to accumulate just a bit. Yeah. So we can still pause by the 20 right here. But as long as we don't what's it called break down under that 20 or come completely to that 50, we're still good. Still good. Like that. So we're gonna wait. Remember, I think the moral of this stream, there's a lot of morals. Test your system. Make your trade in so unfair that somebody, it's like, damn, your trade in is unfair. Like when you lose, you don't lose much. When you win, you just covers it. Mm, mm. Notice that is Now it's falling down even more. Okay. I'm only looking for just a 1 to 2 if we can get this opportunity. That's a nice push up so far, but like I said, wait for the closure. So what I basically see, why I said it could potentially set up is because made a move up like that. If we can print nicely and pause, then yeah. Given that the stop loss size is good too. Let's see. Let's see how we do. Just waiting. Even though I'm expecting this, it doesn't mean that it's gonna happen. This is absolutely beautiful so far. This is the high that I see. And another thing is, I wouldn't want price to get up too high because at that point, it's, even if my stop loss is small, my target would be too too out of the range. So the lower, like basically just a decent area to set up. Like even if it just sets up right here, this is like a great area to look for it. So let's see if we can get a pause right here, and I'm gonna get my order basically prepared for this. I like how this looks potentially. So I'm gonna get this prepared. It's gonna be the last potential trade of the day. If we can just stop before taking out that high right here. We're pausing. Um, I said a 1 to 2. Stop loss size could be somewhere like somewhere right here is decent for the stop size. unless we're pulling back wherever we're pulled, we pull back. But this is what I'm gonna input so far. I gotta hurry up. I came down a little bit more. Right there. Stop loss and pips. Yeah, not bad. 15.5. Says look for AUD USD. Um, X price. Just like that. AUD. Yeah. Basically getting it prepared. 279. Okay. 73, 279. So I'm waiting for the high to get met to set this order. So after this candle closes, so wait for the candle close. Hopefully, like it can move just like instantly. That's the ideal scenario. So basically, so y'all can see it. This is the entry. Let's see what this move does. Can we push up in? I'm just basically getting ready. Waiting for that. Pushing higher. Gonna give me an entry. One to two would be up here. Let's see how this candle goes. Just moving the chart while I'm waiting. Okay, it's pushing up so far. I'm here so focused. Let's see. Trying to give it a bit of time. It's 11:30 right now. It's getting a bit too late. I'm gonna give it like just one more chance to try to do something for an entry. If it doesn't, I'm gonna just hop off the chart. It's not doing anything massive in this area, so the main thing I want to see in this candle is it gonna like push up with momentum, at least breaking above this area. because at that point it's just showing that the price is too weak to even push up right now. Yeah, I'm gonna just hop off the chart because it's not doing much right here. I was just waiting for the buy stop, didn't get that, so I'm gonna be hopping off the charts, even though it's still in a good area. So, like I said, I'm gonna be reviewing the trades that I took in January. Not reviewing the trades, but showing y'all an update since it's like the end of the quarter. So let me go to my accounts real quick. Okay, let me see. Load this page. So I'm gonna just show y'all that and then hop off. So we're gonna start off with January. So this is all history. Um, this, I didn't get this account until like I think January or December. So this is like a fresh account because I was just adding more. 2025. How do I always get confused with this. They make it so complicated here. Trade history. Last week we're gonna do from. Oh yeah, January. So I'm just basically showing y'all. That's not everything. That's January and plus now. I'm trying to show y'all like each month individually. How do I do this? Trade history. It's gonna do. I can't do that. January. All right, let's just do it like this. I think it's showing all the history. Is this showing? This is all right. This is one, one, one. This is three. Okay, so you could currently just see my balance right now. I'm down. I'll say this is. Let's just call this 3%. So we had a. This is hard to tell. So this is January trades. I got a lot of on January trades. So we had this on loss right here. So we had this loss. We had this break even. We had this loss. I think this was a cut loss, a break even. Uh, what's it called? This was a loss. This was a partial, and then I ended up closing the rest of the position. I think that's what happened right here. This was a partial. This was a cut loss right here. This was a break even. This was a cut loss, break even, and this was a cut loss, cut loss, full loss. Yeah, yeah. That's all the trades that I took so far. Um, as you can see right here. Now, when I'm reading this, your mind is going to be automatically attached to the losses. But look what I'm doing with my trading. The losses that I take right here are very good losses. All right, this is just a normal $600 loss, but most of my losses you see right here are either cut or they're just a small break evens. So
when those large winners do end up happening, it's easier to just cover the all the losses quicker. So that's this account right here, and this is the other account. So if we this is going to be easier to show the individual months. So we're going to start off with January. So I trade these accounts together basically. So it's going to be basically almost the same results, maybe slight differences because of the trade copier. Sometimes it's not like 100% accurate. So like I said, the last one was around 2% loss for January. So this was just slightly above. I'm trying to scroll down so y'all can see, but my there we go. Let's see. This was the 7th. So I took a loss. This is basically the same thing. The loss, the same two, the partial, full position close. And then as you can see, if you look right here, I didn't take any. Oh yeah, I didn't update it. Let me go to February to show y'all that I didn't take any trades February. You go to it. No, that's April. February right here. No, that's showing March. Did I click March? No, I clicked March. I'm tripping. That's good. I was on March. I was like, why is there trades? Then as you can see, no trades. Cause I was just waiting for it. At that time, I was on the higher time frame, so it's a lot more waiting. So when you trade in the higher time frame, you're gonna be like when you when you start experiencing drawdown with high time frame trading, you're gonna be in drawdown longer than someone on a lower time frame because there's a lot more waiting you got to do with a higher time frame, and that's another reason why I switched to the lowers. Uh, okay, so and then that was January, February, and then March. Let me just show y'all. So if I go to custom range on the first, since it's the last month, this is what I'm doing. So I'm just basically updating y'all every month, every quarter, basically. All right, so for this month, it was just under 0.5% of a loss. So right here, let me scroll down real quick. So you can see this is break even. This was I believe this was a cut loss, break even, break even, cut loss, break even. So you could basically see how unfair when it comes to my losses, it's very extremely unfair. I'm not taking a huge, huge losses, just small break even, small cut losses, and that's it. And I'm just waiting for the winners. What you got to understand as well, one thing before I end this stream off, when you start an account, your your equity curve can start from like the probabilities of your wins, losses, and break evens can happen in any order, basically. So that's why sometimes you may seem like okay, if you're trading a nice profitable system, basically you can either start off where you're winning trades, and that's going to be your winning period, right? But you know your losses are coming up, right? Similarly, if you start off with losses, you're way closer to hitting some winning trades, and that's just because of the probability and how it works with probabilities and the orders. Probabilities can like these trades can come into with wins, losses, and break evens, so they can happen in any order. It's just important to just keep trading the rules, basically. So I'm gonna end the stream off right now. I'm gonna come back tomorrow, update y'all, show y'all that I didn't take any trades off stream, and we're gonna repeat the same thing over and over.